We all remember the hype train around 7th Woods. He was, well, if you clicked on this video, you get the point. If you had ever been on YouTube or have heard of basketball by 2013, there's a good chance you've caught wind of some of the hysteria, and let's be honest, you've probably seen this video. Of course, there is a real good reason for this. He was really freaking talented. Like #1 ranked in the nation talented. Like sending your attempted dunk outside the stadium talented. He was on a whole nother level, even as a freshman, but you already knew that. However, just like so many before and after him, we all kind of just forgot. And more often than not, we will simply never remember and move on to the next ball is life star. So here's the question. Do former high school basketball heroes like Trey Jefferson, Akil Carr, Trevor Dunbar inevitably get day jobs, or are they able to make basketball work one way or another? But more specifically, what is one of the best high school athletes of our generation, 7th Woods, doing now? What is up, guys? It's your favorite coach's favorite editor, and real quick before we start, go ahead and drop a like. YouTube can sometimes forget about the little guys, and as it turns out, those could really help a channel like ours grow. We post content like this every week, including vlogs, where we sometimes even take an in-person look at the athletes we do breakdowns on, so if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe as well. I also want to add that there's going to be timestamps below in case you're only interested in certain aspects of 7th's career, so go ahead and check those out if you don't want to watch the whole video, but it's a pretty good video, so I'd stick around. Anyways, over the last 3 years, we've watched Zion Williamson dominate his competition and coast right into the first overall draft pick. When we watched his high school highlight reels, it was as if some sort of given we'd be seeing him in the league in the coming years. But what most of us have forgot is we all had those same feelings about 7th Woods, and presumably many others just like him. So let's start from the top. How good was 7th Woods really? And then we'll conclude with the present day and a likely scenario to pan out because it might surprise some of you. Alright, let's start with this video, posted on April 19th, 2013. 7th Woods is 14 years old, it's his freshman year, he is just getting started and we all already knew about him. He was a celebrity, which makes sense not only because he was on his varsity team as an 8th grader averaging 15 points, or because as a freshman he was able to lead his team to a state championship game, a 22-5 record, dropping nearly 20 points a game, but because he did stuff like this, which was borderline just disrespectful. So as a sophomore, he had a stellar season. Not only was he averaging some pretty hefty numbers, but he was also gaining mainstream recognition. He earned South Carolina Boys Basketball Player of the Year and was selected for the USA Under-16 Boys Basketball Team, where you guessed it, they went undefeated and took down the ship. His junior year, he led his high school team to another state championship, was recruited to one of the best AAU organizations in the country, the Carolina Wolves, and finally finished his senior year with a similar track record and stat line. 7th Woods had a great high school career, but here's where the story takes a turn, unfortunately for the worse. For those of you that are unwilling to hear a sobering truth about 7th Woods, I wouldn't watch the rest of this video. Andre Curbelo. He's a 6-foot point guard, senior, 4-star recruit, a very solid player. Have you heard of him before? Probably not, but he's ESPN's current 54th ranked 4-star recruit, similar to 7th his senior year. And it's possible the only key difference between the two might be a YouTube video that got 15 million views. And trust me, I hate to be the one to point this out, but efficiency and the skills it takes to craft an insane mixtape are two very different things. Of course they can exist together, happens all the time, Zion being a prime example. But sometimes it doesn't, and an athlete can have one or the other. Now, I'm not saying 7th wasn't efficient or a good teammate somehow, but what I will say is that when a highlight video gets far more views than any other at the time, it can sometimes lead us to believe that athlete is that much better too. For example, do you remember watching Mitchell Robinson or Jalen Brunson's high school mixtapes? It's not likely, but they were two of the best rookies in the league this past year. But let's touch on this in just a second, so we can move on with 7th's college career. Woods has spent the last 3 years playing for the University of North Carolina. As a freshman in 2016, he played under point guard Joel Berry. He averaged 8 minutes a game, and his season high came with 24 points and 4 assists. As a sophomore, he missed 17 games because of a stress fracture in his foot. That season came with a career high of 9 points and a season opener against Northern Iowa. And his junior year, he was in competition with Kobe White. He didn't get the job, although he did start one game against Gonzaga, who at the time was ranked 14th in the country, where he dropped his new career high with 14 points. And as of right now, he is planning on transferring to South Carolina for the conclusion of his college career, where presumably he will then enter the NBA draft or try to play professionally elsewhere. So let's talk about the major factors behind why the transition to college ball wasn't very smooth. Well, for one, Seventh's mixtapes consisted mainly of two things. One, he would dribble through an entire defense before two, throwing down a monster dunk by virtue of being 5 times as athletic as anyone on the court. So I'll let you do the math there, and you might realize that at that next level, especially at UNC, this type of game would simply not translate. When you rely solely on your athleticism or size, you're disadvantaged as the levels progress because those qualities are simply prerequisites in the D1 game. But luckily for Seventh, he could also dribble and handle the ball very well. Yet the style of play was really where the disconnect lay. Roy Williams, the head coach at UNC, said it himself that the point guard position is the hardest position to adapt to, given their offensive style. The Tar Heels run a very fast-paced motion offense that consists of mainly swinging the ball, cutting, and setting screens, obviously on top of their patented fast break offense. And just like with most other schools of that caliber, the 1v5 game will simply not happen. However, in high school, as we've seen, when you have a player as dominant as Seventh, it's tempting to let him control the flow and tempo of the game, which served him and his team very well in high school, obviously. But at that next level, especially under Roy Williams, he had to unlearn that style, which of course can be a struggle if not impossible. This is a common theme in our videos if you haven't noticed, and it really touches into the core of our message. At the highest levels on the court, your fit and play style is really what determines your ability to succeed. Unlike in NBA 2K, it's not solely maximizing your shooting, dribbling, and passing rating, and that magically translating to making your teammates better. Alright, but enough of that. So finally, how do we measure the likelihood of Seventh having a successful NBA career? Well, we all know Kobe White, his former teammate and competitor, went on to go 7th overall in the NBA draft and did reasonably well in the Summer League for the Chicago Bulls, and will potentially excel in the NBA regular season too. We could also use his college stat line and numbers to see where he lines up with his class and classes prior, but I think it's rather clear that at least by now his stats are nothing jaw-dropping, and by that metric, it wouldn't be likely he'd ever see a professional minute on the court. And finally, we could rewind to 2013, at the peak of his hype as a freshman in high school, and pretend it reigns any real significance as the level of talent inevitably progresses. But I'd say that's yet another poor choice of measurement, which is kind of what I want to make the whole point of this video. And I really don't mean to sound like I'm hating on Seventh Woods, because as a matter of fact, in the making of this video, I've watched quite a few interviews of him, and he seems like a really humble and genuinely good guy, and I truly wish the best for him. But I think we were misled, as we are quite often when we catch wind of a viral high school mixtape. More often than not, you don't hear about the next up-and-coming solid NBA players unless you're extra careful and thoughtful about your analysis, which is what we aim for and what Cortical Hoops strives to be. Of course, this is especially obvious in the newest waves of European athletes, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic being quality examples, where you wouldn't necessarily know they're next up until they're in the league balling on the best in the world. It's part of the beauty of the game and what makes the process so interesting. And it also gives us something to talk about in these videos, which is pretty cool too. But for those of you Seventh Woods fans, I wouldn't rule him out just yet. He has one final year. It's likely he'll start, and he certainly has what it takes to make a great final impression in the NCAA, and may even pull off a top draft pick, who knows. And to be honest, I'm actually quite optimistic given everything I've seen so far, but per usual, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Alright, as some of you might know, we just recently got our clothing up and moving. We're doing a promotion on our t-shirts and they're going fast. Thank you guys so much for 5,000 subscribers. I'm gonna post a screenshot here. This is me and your favorite coach's favorite coach. We were ready to hit 100 and I haven't forgotten that feeling. So we're really grateful. This is just the beginning, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. From the gatekeepers of YouTube's basketball community, Cortical Hoops, see you on the next one.